Hello everyone, welcome to our Let's Play series of Pillars of Eternity 2. This is Colonel RPG as usual, and I'm very happy that you chose to join me today here in the Imperial Command of the Rauatai. I'm gonna try and steal some things from them. Naturally I will. Let's
I can be quiet if you can.
I don't remember who exactly
You were saying?
is the sneaky bit. Who's the sneaky? Are you sneaky?
Nishi. Quiet time.
Maybe. Maybe. Can we get over there though? Oh yeah, for sure. No problem. Let's try it with him. Well, maybe a problem. Monsters of the Deadfire Archipelago. I don't like that. No, no. Leviathans, no, please don't. Please don't have that. It's probably gonna hurt a little bit, so I'd rather not. Anyway, let's get out of here. We, were looking for someone, but I guess we're not really gonna find them here because we've been everywhere and we didn't find them. We have our weapon master here training their recruits. We have the exits to the Brass Citadel, and we there's that's the can't go in there, or can I? What? Sabormi, hello. Maybe I didn't talk to you, did I? A young woman with a bright white smile and eyes to match raises her hand and gives you a quick but enthusiastic wave. Then with an exaggerated look of embarrassment, she stops herself and crosses her forearms over her chest.
I always forget that part. Say, you're the Watcher of Cad Nua, aren't you? I've never met anyone famous before. Except the Hazanui. She yells at me sometimes.
Well, I guess she's famous. The Hazanui yells at you?
Oh, all the time.
Well, you said sometimes. She screws her face up into a look of mock seriousness. Still, she can't keep from smiling.
Where's my white leaf? Stop daydreaming. Sabormi, if you lose the ledgers again, I'll have you clean the latrines.
At this last moment, she leans close, her eyes wide and her voice low with awe.
All this time, I didn't realize she knew my name.
Oh. Well, I'm not sure. I mean, I guess she might be famous in, in certain circles. Are you always this excitable? She's not. I mean, she is excited, I guess. Is she excitable? Let's go with that.
It's just, this is my first time away from the rough country.
The rough country, an affectionate Rauatai term for their homeland. Yeah, we did hear that, or did read that before.
I'd heard there were thick, green forests and sandy beaches without a storm in sight, but I never imagined this. You must have traveled lots, seen all sorts of amazing places.
And had adventures you wouldn't believe. See the world, Sabormi. Travel is grand.
I sure hope to.
Shorty likes that.
I'd love Rauatai, but it's hard to go a week without seeing storms, or hearing about mudslides burying a village somewhere.
Her buoyant expression sags, but only for a moment. So you're the quartermaster. Can you sell me something? Her face scrunches up in disappointment.
I really wish I could, but my supplies are for the Royal Deadfire Company and our allies. Hazanui's orders. Maybe if you impress her or Atsura, they could make an exception.
Yeah, maybe. Farewell. That is an interesting, it's an interesting take on the Rauatai there. She's very much embodying let's see.
Don't see why not.
Let's bring him up here. Yeah, I'll have to figure that out, how to get that. So she's very much embodying the sort of expansionist. Expansionist is probably not the word. Yeah, I guess it is, because it's not so much about colonies. Rauatai doesn't really care about that, as far as I can tell, of course. It is more about the just the expansion, and she sort of is embodying that a little bit. Let's see what we have. Correspondence between Captains Reiki and Mashkoro. Or Mashquoro, depending on how you pronounce the U there. To the oft-admired but questionably attired Captain Reiki. That is interesting because it's all capitalized and it sort of rhymes, so it might be like a name. This letter should reach the Brass Citadel long before I do, which is lucky for you because you'll need the time to make sure Hazatoha make some Hazatoha winnings to settle our last bet. Never challenge a captain of the Rukwapa. Are the elite group of specially trained warriors who personally carry out the Ranganui's will. Interesting. Never challenge a captain of the Rukwapa Choro Colonel spitting contest. Choro Colonel spitting contest. Colonel. It's just a colonel. You're spitting colonels. My eldest knitted a pair of those fancy socks you love, though I hear Deadfire's the kind of place where it's nice to feel the sand between your toes. Maybe it really is the haven everyone says it is. You'll know before I do. When you see our sails have a pair of razor skewers, a rack, which I think is a fish, and some 30 palohe nuts of variety. Oh, skewers. Yeah, I know what that is. Razor though? Razor skewers? No, I don't know what that is. About 30 palohe nuts of varying sizes ready. In grand deeds and ill-advised wagers, Captain Musquato. And over here we have the Moons of Aora, which tells us about the 3 moons, maybe. Actually, there's only 2 right now, but there used to be another one. And for that you have to play the expansion of
Ishi, quiet time.
of the first game. You have literally the Abbey of the Fallen Moon, and it's really cool. Clear skies, Maorua, says this fella over here, and it's really cool. And yeah, it's got a really cool song as well. And I don't remember. I think we've heard it here in this game, but I don't remember exactly how it goes. It's got a very nice tune to it. It's also an offbeat tune, not offbeat I guess, but it's sort of yeah, it's sort of weird.
They weren't that bad.
What did you see?
Rhyming Hazanui with Kablooey?
Yeah.
I can't think of anything else that goes with Hazanui.
Well, you don't need one
Me
word.
neither. That's why I leave epics to the lore college.
Criticism is easier than creation.
And so he's taking a dump, and you still do it every morning. That's not. It's like I just felt it wasn't a good. It's the first. I think it's the first time I see that voiced in that way. But it's a common criticism of criticism. Is just, as a way to diminish its value, basically. And when you can't come up with better arguments, it is a stupid thing to rhyme Hazanui with Kablooey. What would you rhyme it as? What I was gonna say is that you don't need hard rhymes a lot of the time, but if you need a hard rhyme, when I say hard rhyme, I mean just like literally the same sound. If you need one, you might want to look into just using 2 words instead of 1, because the ooey is the problem. So, it's very easy to start thinking about big words that end in ooey, but if you find one small one that ends with that, and then you can mix the other ones. I can't really think of one right now. As ooey is a tricky one in English, but then again, a lot of these words would be tricky to rhyme in English. What do we have? A plaque below the coral reads, "As we shape coral, so shall we shape nations. In victory, your Ranga Nui." Atsura. The man behind the desk regards you with attentive, unblinking eyes and a perfectly open expression. His smooth features make it hard to pinpoint his age, though the crinkles at the corners of his eyes suggest he is not especially young. He cocks his head, taking your measure. He pauses before speaking, just a little longer than seems normal. Well, he didn't do anything, so he can't really pause before speaking. You can't do a pause if you don't start. Well, I guess, in music you can, I suppose. But, it's just because no, you can't. Anyway, when he finally does, he seizes you by the shoulders and wraps you in an abrupt but warm embrace. The gesture is so sudden and over so quickly that when he steps back and resumes his politely professional manner, it's almost as if it never happened. Was that by mistake, or is that like a custom?
Watcher Nui, the Lady of Kadnua.
Nui means great, yes. The Lady of Kadnua. He gives you a sleek half-smile that reveals a row of perfect pointed teeth.
I'm not one for ostentation, but your remarkable display at Queen's birth suggests that you are an individual with skills, not mere style.
Oh, your flattery is appreciated. I like the mere style. No, wait a minute. That doesn't mean what I thought it did. Nah, Penumbra is still gonna like it. Yeah, it doesn't necessarily mean that he's saying I have style, which I did think meant it at the first, but that's not necessarily what it's saying. I don't have mere style. I could have other things, but not mere style. If he said just style, it would be a little bit more sort of flattering, but it's still not technically necessarily that he's saying that I have style at all. But anyway, I don't remember what I did at Queen's birth, though. I do what has to be done. Wait a minute, was that... Oh, it's the Valians, isn't it? Oh, boy. Yeah, this is part of where you tell me what I can do for the royal fight. Now, let's see. I do what has to be done, and I don't let anything stand in my way.
Deadfire could certainly use more people with your gumption.
His eyes shine with interest. He blinks, perhaps for the first time since your conversation began.
I am Atsura,
Which is-
Grand Secretary of the Royal Deadfire Company.
Which is really creepy, because that means he hugged me while not blinking. So, for anybody standing behind me, he's like, oh, holy crap, this giant person is hugging this little tiny person over here, and not blinking. Like... it sounds as if like a significant title, but he's strangely emotionless. He might as well be describing the color of his clothing. Well, it's because he probably introduces himself a lot. For a trading company, you've got a very commanding presence in Nekatako.
And why not? Thousands of years ago, our people came from the archipelago. By one reckoning, we have as much claim on these islands as the Juana.
By another, you're all of the same people, aren't you? So you don't have as much of a claim, isn't it? Because I'm sure that... Did the Juana not come from here as well? Was that... Did they sort of move in? Or do you want to trade... Do you want to just trade places? Do you want to give up your Rauatai? Your... What was it they call it? Your tough lands? He shrugs and waves a hand in the manner of someone politely dismissing a compliment.
Does all Rauataian law work this way? Where is that mountain of Azada shells I misplaced thousands of years ago?
Takeo strokes his chin and idly glances around.
But our purpose here is trade.
Can I point out that that is not a good argument? Because you're readily engaging with his point, which is the point of, you know, history. And if you're gonna just dismiss history, which is sort of what this is doing, I agree with this for sure, but that's not the heart of the issue here. The heart of the issue here is that it's a biased. It's always going to be a biased argument anyway. I mean, yes, sure, your people came from there, and you have roots, and you have history, and you have traditions and religion and all that sort of stuff. Other people also came from there, so know your place. So, yeah, that's basically the whole thing. But Takeo has shown that he's not necessarily the brightest among us, so I'll let him keep that retort. It wasn't too bad. It was pretty funny, actually. It was good. He gives you an unusually placid smile again.
While our homeland is rich in saltpeter, the violent climate and rocky soils make it a poor source for most other basic staples.
So that's a cool thing as well, that it's rich in saltpeter, and also I know how to say it, so that's fantastic, because I didn't know it. But it also explains why they have cannons, so many, because the gunpowder is made with saltpeter and coal? Charcoal. And also another thing, brine? I think that's how it goes. Or mixture. Or it's a mixture for sure, but I don't know. You can look it up on Wikipedia if you want to make a bomb. Don't tell them I sent you. I don't know any of this.
It's my business to look after the mainland's interests here.
He spreads his hands wide to include his rather plain, dim office. Yeah, it's a little bit dim. And it's rather plain, actually. Yeah, that is true. Do those interests include Luminous Adra?
That is a Valian frivolity.
Frivolity?
Leave it to them to observe a substance that occurs nowhere else on Aora, and immediately set about pulverizing it for profit.
That is interesting, actually. A ripple of distaste passes over his features. What would you do with it?
Nothing.
I like it. I like your way of thinking.
We know too little about Luminous Adra to understand the consequences of ripping it out.
He pauses and considers you.
Perhaps you can help me keep them from doing more harm.
Yes, please. What do you have in mind?
The demand for Luminous Adra has sent the Valian Trading Company into a frenzy. Their expeditions grow too bold, and their officers too greedy.
He puckers his lips as though at a lack of discretion at a dinner party.
Worse, their rapid expansion attracts pirates and threatens the outlying Juana tribes. This risks souring the Kahanga royals against all foreign involvement.
I Yeah, I wish I had paused before. I just meant not to pause. I'm gonna pause now because I don't want him to undermine what I'm about to say just now. What I was about to say before, as I said, as I made the decision to say this line, and I made that decision even before I saw the options. I was already sort of struggling with an interesting, not struggling, but sort of having immediately sort of an internal dialogue here regarding what he is and who he is and his nationality. And of course, I don't know if the game is going to drive that point in or something. I hope it's subtle. I hope it's subtle, but I hope it's there as well. So there's a very traditional There's a very traditional way of doing story and writing fiction, and video games are even more of a victim to that, which is a way that everybody that belongs to this country is gonna defend this. Everybody that belongs to this faction is gonna think this way, and this guy is a Rawatai high officer, and sure, that has implications, and it must have implications, but that would take it to a level of subtlety even higher than the level of subtlety that at least it's already it seems to be already apparent. Now there's a couple of ways that this can go, but it is perfectly possible for a faction such as the Rawatai here, who have a very bellicose attitude towards, well, they're not necessarily, they have a bellicose attitude towards a lot of people, but they're not necessarily bellicose, and what I mean bellicose, I mean belligerent. That's the same origin of the word, but it means, warlike and aggressive. So they're very aggressive in that, and honestly, I don't know how I feel about that. We haven't been shown yet a lot of them. The only introduction I remember from Rawatai is from Kana in the first game. And he told us about what they felt like. They're very expansionist, and they're very dedicated to getting new lands. And one after the other, we just met two characters that are really interesting, people. This one is interesting just because it's sort of, sort of wild. It's sort of hugging people out of nowhere and being all dispassionate and interesting. And then the other, the quartermaster, who was just a lovable character, I felt, just readily like that. Excuse me. But what I mean is that if you're gonna look at these characters as part of the Rawatai, and you're gonna be playing a character that doesn't like war, for example, or I guess in this case probably wouldn't be able to play that, considering that you're piloting a pirate ship, but we'll see. But anyway, if you're playing a character that doesn't like Rawatai, or that even a character that likes them and wants to destroy the Valen, and you're gonna look at these characters, and you're gonna look at Atsura over here and at the quartermaster, and you're gonna interpret them within the light of them being Rawataian, I think that's reducing their characters a lot. And usually you can do that in fiction, and that's what I meant. Fiction does that a lot. You see that sometimes taken to the extreme, but you see that in a lot of things. I was gonna say Star Wars, but I've never seen the movies, but I sometimes say that in Star Wars there's only one government per planet and one climate per planet. That's not strictly the case, but it comes across as that to somebody who has never watched it, and to somebody who's only played Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2. But it's still, that's sort of, it's an easy way to identify characters and allow for you to travel the world. What he's doing here immediately, though, is introducing another aspect to this. That's why I wanted to make this rant before I stopped with this discussion. So I'm gonna go back and recontextualize this. Their rapid expansion attacks pirates and threatens the outlying Huana tribes. So he's showing here an understanding, which I wouldn't guess he didn't have that understanding, but he's having an understanding of the Rawataian logistics of expansion, which are very important. They're very important thing. If historically speaking, if you have an expansionist country, you're really gonna need to deal with a lot of all the attrition that it's gonna cause just throughout. Not attrition, because I guess that's from damage to yourself. As a sort of attrition, a war of attrition would be a war of, tiring people out. That's not what I mean. It's sort of you're overstretching yourself, your country and your people, and also, of course, your resources. And if you're going to deal with the backlash of expansion, then they would know. the risk of souring the Kahanga royals and all that sort of stuff. This, though, this is introducing another thing that might undermine what I just said. And I wanted to say it before he says anything because it's interesting, and I hope he goes... I hope he turns out to be a very... what's the word? Probably... self-thinking is not the word, but it's basically a person with a mind of his own. I hope that's what he is, and he doesn't fit the traditional Raotayan archetype, let's put it like that. I hope that's the case. I'm thinking he might not be, though, because this kind of points at him just having ulterior motives of just, you know, making their life easier. He is asking us to fight against the Valiants, but if his interest is really what he just said, which I loved that it was, to just sort of prevent damage from being done because of the powdering of that, I will definitely side with him. Even though I don't want to side with Valia or the at least not immediately. I don't want to side with either of them because it seems like it's a very easy balance to tip, and unless I have a very big reason to side with or against any of those factions, I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna stay neutral because it's a very it's a difficult balance here because we're talking about very different factions. At least the three main factions, which are the Wana, the Rawatai, and the Valiant. The Valiant are very powerful money-wise, and they also, of course, have the animacy, which is always a good thing. The Rawatai are very powerful military-wise, and it's great that they're adding other things to them as well. And of course, the Wana, who have lived here, and of course under the boot of those who want to explore them. So at least as far as we can tell, not all of them. And it's also, I love it that it seems, at least as of right now, that it is their own government that's exploring them, sort of exploiting them. I don't know what the word is, but you know what I mean, especially with Roparo. But let's see. So basically it's saying about preventing the preventing the export of the Luminous Adra. The demand of Luminous Adra, he says, has sent the Valiant Trading Company into a frenzy. Their expeditions grow too bold, and they're, attracting attention.
But you can curtail their growth.
This isn't about the welfare of the Deadfire. This is about them outpacing you. I will call him out on that. Because I hope it's not. I hope it's not. I really hope it's not. And then, if it is, then we have a very interesting choice to make.
By snapping up land, we need to grow food and build ships for our people?
It is.
Indeed. But our interests and Deadfire's are not mutually exclusive.
That's true, and that's why it's an interesting choice, what I'm about to do. He interlaces his long, well-manicured fingers.
The Valians have sent an expedition to Pococahara, a storm-wrecked island believed to house a vein of Luminous. I hear you accomplished an incredible feat in restoring the Luminous Adra near Port Maje.
I don't like that it says Luminous. It reminds me of the people that say face. And I realize to you this might not make sense, or it might, what I said of the people that say face. But when people say face, and the people I'm referring to, they're meaning Facebook, and that hurts me deeply. And also, then that it's basically the same.
If your abilities allow you to do that, then perhaps you are also capable of the opposite.
I hear you accomplished an incredible feat in restoring the Luminous Adra near Port Maje. Restoring the Luminous Adra. What do you want me to do? The opposite of that?
Find the Luminous Adra at Pococahara. Render it unusable to the Valians.
Screw you.
This should encourage them to develop the resources they have, rather than reaching for more.
I'm glad I ranted about it before. Well, I said ranted, I mean rambled. I wasn't ranting. But no. Just no. No. It's like, I thought you were concerned about disturbing Luminous Adra, you jerk.
Deeply.
He furrows his brow, furrowing deeply. Abruptly, his expression clears.
But if a small sacrifice here will discourage the Valians from further ventures, then it is a worthwhile risk.
No. My blade is going to discourage the Valiants from further ventures. No, I wouldn't. No, just no. What's to say I don't tell the villains about this? Actually, I will. That sounds good.
For all their faults, they don't lack imagination. I'm confident they know of our intentions.
Can I set up, I don't know, like a, I don't know, some way of bringing you guys down or something? No. He shrugs, looking neither surprised nor displeased by your answer.
Deadfire is a tumultuous place. Consider the value of an ally with ships, cannons, and the backing of a great empire. I do not have the precise location of Pococahara, but the tribe on the nearby island of Tikawara could probably help. I suggest starting there.
No.
Now, what else can I do for you?
So what exactly is the... I know that wasn't an option when I saw what he's saying. I've been playing enough RPGs for a while to know when the game is not giving me an option. What exactly is the Brass Citadel? I mean, it is going to give us an option later, I'm sure, but what is it? What's the Brass Citadel? He hesitates, looking at you as if the answer is obvious.
It's a trading post, of course.
With high walls, cannons, and guard towers?
Anything worth building is worth protecting.
Honestly, when he said anything worth, I thought he was going to say trading is worth protecting, but that kind of threw me off a loop.
It's anything worth... It's a trading post, of course.
What do you trade?
Rawatai is rich in saltpeter, copper, and a few other profitable minerals. We generally trade for food and timber, which grow poorly in the rough country. The Valians have become aggressive competitors in recent years, but our ships were plying the seas long before the Republic's declared independence.
I wonder how a country like this would have had the logistics to build ships if they have not enough wood.
We learned the value of defending our goods and ships long ago.
Because why would you need wood in the first place, if not for ships? It's not to build things. You have stone for that.
Clear skies.
You seem different from the rest of the Royal Deadfire Company. I mean, more psychotic. Not psychotic's not the word. Sociopathic, maybe?
How do you mean that?
You're hard to read. And easy. Which makes it hard. Because he sort of changes... He changes his expression deliberately.
It comes from years of practice.
Yeah.
It's the only way I've learned to beat Karanui at Hazatoa.
No, yeah, I've read about that, I think. Maybe. So, yeah, farewell. Well, I guess we have quests. We have another quest. We also have Verzano over here, whom we might have to talk to next episode. For right now, I'm Colonel RPG, and this has been... Oh, Verzano is cleaning, so maybe he's not like a big captain or anything. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Leave a comment down below if you enjoyed it, or if you didn't, leave a like as well if you want to see the next episode come out sooner rather than later. But above all, thank you so much for watching, and I hope I'll see you next episode. Bye-bye.